Hello, good morning. It's just coming up to 8 AM on Wednesday the 18th of May. As you can see, I've got the old outfit on again. I'm on the outskirts of Salisbury. Right behind me is the ancient hill fort of Old Sarum. Plenty of history there. I'm not going to delve too much into that. I'll put a link as usual below. As I referred to in my last video, I'm attempting to ride an old Roman road. It's known as the Lead Road, and also Margary's 45B. I'll do my best to explain all this as I go through the video. I'm not an expert, so I'm just giving you a beginner's view. Right behind me is Old Sarum. That's going to be my start point, and the finish point hopefully is where the River Axe flows into the Bristol Channe. There was thought to be an old Roman port there. You get the idea really. It's a road to tap into the resources up on the Mendips and possibly take it to a port to transport it. So far today then, I've just got a train from my local station in Bath, Oldfield Park, 6:05, got me into Salisbury at 7:10. Just had a quick trip down to have a look at the cathedral. Very impressive, tallest spire of a cathedral in the UK, I believe, and there's a nice arch there as well. I had a Roman theme to it. Quick coffee and pick up some sandwiches at Greg's. Then I'm heading up there and I'm going to start the ride proper from there. I've had the outfit on now 2 or 3 hours since I left home. Get lots of looks and comments already. Really nice positive stuff. Few people think I'm a loony, but hey, that's fine. I'm okay with that as well. Couple of really nice encounters. The guard on the train lady, she sort of said I made her day, and she came in and had a chat with me later on just before we pulled in Salisbury. That was really nice, so thank you for that if you're watching. And also Jeremy, another cyclist actually that was getting the train from Bristol to Trowbridge. We had a good old chat. We had so much in common. It'd been nice to have chatted to him for longer. So again, Jeremy, if you're watching, really nice meeting you this morning. I'm just taking this minor track up to Old Sarum, and then basically I'm heading over to the Wylye Valley, and then a lot of this morning and this afternoon is off-road. I hope to bivvy somewhere. Anyway, enough of the waffle, let's get to the start up there. Just gone 8:20 now, and I've climbed up to Old Sarum. It's lovely actually. There's a nice little track through the park down there. There was a circus down there. I wonder how many people thought I was a clown from that. Then a stretch of main road, but there's a cycle path along that. And then the gravel track up to Old Sarum itself. It's run and managed by English Heritage. I did look at going in, but it doesn't open till 10 AM. Plus the fact, I think I'd rather come here on another occasion and linger without the thought of a deadline. I need to get over the other side. My route is taking me straight through, but I'm pretty sure I can walk around there. And then the ride proper starts over there. It would drop down, and it was originally thought there's a ford across the River Wylye on the outskirts of Wilton. Well, my days of fording rivers are many years behind me. I'm gonna just take some main roads through Wilton, start riding what's the Wiltshire cycleway that follows the Wylye Valley up towards Warminster, and then there's a track going off the left. In between my two 400 kilometre rides this year, I did a 200 ride, and by chance I came down this way. It wasn't planned, and I actually saw the track going up there, and as I was riding along the Wiley Valley I kept looking up there thinking, oh gosh, that's where I'm going to be going in a few weeks. And the same on the train this morning. Whether it's rideable, whether I get lost, I just don't know. I'm quite excited, a little bit nervous, keen to get started, but I certainly don't want to rush this. This is lovely. Oh yeah, look, there's a lovely side-on shot of Salisbury Cathedral. See if I can zoom in. And just panning round to the other side, I thought that was a lake at first, or a pond. It's a big field of blue rapeseed. Wonderful. I'm so enjoying spring and all the colours this year. Anyway, Margary's 45B, known as the Lead Road, starts here. Heading towards the lead and silver mines on Mendip near Charterhouse. Whether I get that far tonight remains to be seen. I don't think so somehow. And then hopefully try and follow the conjectured continuation down to Uphill tomorrow, and then get a train from Weston-super-Mare late afternoon and have to see how it goes. Anyway, it all starts here. I'm less than a mile in and the adventure seems fantastic already. There's old Sarum there, right up there, that straight line with the tree line around it. Have to say, getting down on footpaths would have been easier to walk than to ride. Then I joined a very minor road past the school, then turned up a no-through road which sort of says lead to a footpath, and here we are, first river crossing. I think this is the River Wiley. I'm heading along there. I just don't know where I'm heading actually. This is what I love about adventures like this. You just come across places like this. I'd have never found this without the GPS and without a little bit of a plan. First little issue I've come across coming out of Bemerton on the outskirts of Salisbury along this fairly good quality old track. There's a tree down there. I've just tried to get through. There's no way I'll get through. Having said that, if I go back there, I've just climbed over the fence and you can literally just walk through a gap in this fence the other side of the tree. So I'm going to try and backtrack. Easy peasy. I just went back about 20 yards. There's even a gap in this hedgerow, and then bypassed the tree in that field there. There's a gap there, look. Oh, I hope all today's problems are as easy to solve as that. Well, my route sent me down through this industrial area. You can see like there's no quarry here. And there's old railway tracks there. And it did say no through route, so I obviously had to be very careful. Asked one of the workmen there, who's like a gate man, and he got the foreman over and they sort of said I could ride through there, but it's double locked, gated. But they've told me all I've got to do is go back, hang a right, hang a second right, cross under the railway, then get on the main road. So yeah, I keep stopping the film, but I suppose a lot of people have been asking me so far, why are you doing it? The first response normally is it for charity? And the answer is no. I suppose the easiest I could sum it up is I'm just trying to experience what it could have been like making a journey along this road. And just, you know, these are the sort of challenges I'm going to be coming across, and I'm sure people 2,000 years ago had challenges of their own, maybe not quite like this. Anyway, I'm making very slow progress, so press on. Well, here's where the fun begins. Just turning off from Wilton onto the Wiltshire Cycleway, and then I'm forking off up this bridleway up here. This is going to take me, I think, up onto a big ridge, and then I'll be running along on the left hand side of the road that runs up the Wiley Valley, looking down on the road, the river and the railway. I seem to have reached the summit climbing out of the Wiley Valley. I don't want to speak too soon, but I've got to say that was a lot easier than I thought it would be. A lot more defined as well. As you start making the summit of that track out of Wilton, the road sort of splits and it says private farm track, no access. Then off to the right it would be, heading this way. It says bridleway, permitted to walkers, horse riders, bicyclists, no motorbikes. And this is a bit, I was a little bit concerned about going through woods because I know how easy it is to get disorientated and lost in woods. Again, you can see it looks pretty defined actually. So the first bit I thought was going to be really easy and fairly straightforward and familiar was exactly the opposite. And so far, touch wood, this has been the opposite of what I thought it would be. It's a lot easier. This part through the woods is wonderful, and it's so straight, so defined. I was just doing a bit of filming back there by that gate as I entered the woods, and this lady with her dog stopped and had a chat, obviously interested in what I was up to, and told me this is really easy to follow for a couple of miles, very defined, clearly a Roman road. And she said look out for the Wiverley witches in about 200 metres time. I think I may have missed them. She was saying look it up online. Legend had it that this wood was inhabited by these witches, and there's these two really tall trees apparently where people come and just hang things on. I've been looking out but haven't seen it. Just another good reason to come back and have a much longer look and then explore. Wow, this is absolutely amazing. This is my view going forwards. How many times have I ridden down the Worcester Cycleway down the Wiley Valley little minor road thinking how amazing that is. I just had no idea this was up here. Wow. Bird song everywhere. This lovely clearly defined avenue. Bluebells over there as well. What an amazing place. As the ride goes on, I'll tell you a bit about my methodology. I referred to it last time. I've got access to some research which really helped plan this route, and also an update on my broken mudguard. Yes, I did manage to fix it. I'll go through that later on. Then obviously when I camp I'll show you all the kit I bought. Now left that very wide avenue section through the woods, and I've just drifted over to the right slightly on this metal road, and then there's a fork in the road, no through road that way. And we're heading this way. You can see straight as a ruler by the look of it for the next mile or so. I've reached a familiar landmark, so that's the way I've come. I'm just crossing this S-bend of a minor road here, so I'm going to go along there, and I think I'm going to go down that track. This is the road that climbs from the Wiley Valley, turns right if you're heading towards Salisbury, goes straight over the railway at a level crossing, climbs up steeply. This is just past the summit on the way down to the Nadder Valley, and it's a landmark I'm familiar with. I tried to describe this in the Fossway video. When you're on a route like this, anything you cross like that, it just sort of seems to be or heading to nowhere. Like this is just on an S-bend. I'm literally going to do 10 yards of road and then off that way. But if I was riding that as a route, as I so often do, these tracks would appear to go nowhere. It's amazing how quickly a perception changes for direction. Quick bit about the kit. I mean, first of all, an update. I broke my mudguard. I wrenched the mudguard out of the stays on my last ride, riding a bit of the Fossway ironically, and I snapped a bit of the mudguard itself. I did say I've got a pot rivet gun at home. As I was going through my toolkit to try and find it, I came across these mudguard screws actually. I think they're to bolt a light clamp on. They fitted the job perfectly. So you may see I've used screws in there with some washers, and on the other side I put some anti-slip washers, locking washers, and I Loctited it so hopefully that won't rattle free. And also used some glue on the split itself. It didn't go across that way, it went lengthways. So I just bonded it with some glue, and it's amazing how quickly it took actually. It sort of welded it, and I've just put like a sticking plaster over there to sort of like really reinforce it. That's just like electrical masking tape. Using 2 Garmins this morning. I've also got 3 Ordnance Survey 150,000 scale maps, and I've highlighted the route over that. And also, I referred last time, I've got access to some research, so let me explain. Maybe this might be in the wrong order. I'll tell you how the genesis of the idea of this route later on. When I was trying to research it, I found online desktop research, even going to Google Scholar, I could find so little. I thought I was just going to have to wing it, and I started placing a ruler actually on some Ordnance Survey maps between known parts of Roman roads, and just tried to work out the closest to a straight line where I wouldn't be trespassing. And then I came across the Roman Roads Research Association. It's a charity, and it's based on trying to collate evidence and share interest with like-minded people and get research up to date, because obviously with things like LiDAR, which is like laser mapping from aeroplanes, you know, that it's just opened up a whole new avenue of research. Anyway, cut long story short, I saw they had some files on Margary's 45B. I clicked the link and apparently you needed to log in as a member, so I joined. It was £14 a year, but the research I got for this was just incredible. I cannot reproduce it, but what I can do is just share the route with you. And the great thing with it all being internet based, I can download it. It's all on my smartphone, and I've downloaded all the routes onto my Garmin, so the maps are there as a backup, and whenever I get a little bit confused or stuck, I can refer to the research. Anyway, enough talking here. I just really want to enjoy this moment because I've passed this spot so many times. As I said, just going to join the tarmac, and as the road bends around that way, I'm going to carry straight on, so let's get going. This first section then, as you emerge from the woods after crossing that road from the Wiley Valley, you end up, I don't know if this is classed as a metal road, it looks like a farm track, but it certainly looks like it's going somewhere. How long I'm on it, I don't know, but you can see the landscape's really opened up. Wow, this part's wonderful. You can see it's going up and down a little bit, but it's much more open here. I've seen quite a few dog walkers as well. This surface is going on a lot longer than I thought it might do. I thought it might just go up to a farm and then turn into a track, so hey, yeah, making good progress. This is looking back at the way I've come, so the Wiley would be over there, over the brow of this hill, then down there steeply, but look over there towards the Nadder and Salisbury Plain. As I said earlier on, I'm just trying to get a feel for what a journey would have been like nearly 2,000 years ago along here. And I think one of the things I always think of is what would they have seen? To give the Roman road building a bit of context, I sort of use a timeline really. As I understand it, the Romans were in Britain for about 400 years, a shade over or maybe a shade under. And you think about it, the Industrial Revolution was just over 200 years ago. You sort of think of all the advances since then, you know, canal networks, then the railways, motorways, the modern day internet. You know, the Romans were here twice as long as that period of the Industrial Revolution until the present day. So they put down a lot of stuff, a lot of buildings, and certainly a lot of substantial road network. You know, this one, for instance, was, I believe it's between 17 and 18 feet wide. Give you an idea, the big stones at the iconic Stonehenge are about 15 feet high, so, you know, wider than Stonehenge is high. I've just crossed a minor road there, right to left. This is signposted as a bridleway, so this road looks like it's going down possibly that house over there behind the tree. Some llamas in the field, look. Tarmac bending around that house. This is the bridleway along the edge of some cropped fields. This bit's quite overgrown and in places narrow, and as I always said on the Frostway Road, if you're going to do something like this, you've just got to be prepared to be stung and bitten and scratched and have your Roman skirt snagged. I bought some antihistamine cream with me as well, so don't want to risk any sort of skin infections or reactions, but looks like I'm just going to cross what looks like a fairly main road there actually. And the other thing I'd say is with the GPS, the one I'm navigating on, the old 200, has reverted because I've stopped to an overview, but that will very soon become a track going forward. The reason I like breadcrumb trails, they're so easy to follow. It's a bit like an airline pilot, they don't have a street map up on the air today, although having said that, I'm told it's very much like a motorway network. But they just literally follow the line, and with me, if the line goes left, I go left. There's no complication with roads and street names and anything like that, too much detail, because basically it'd be pointless on a ride like this anyway. I just love the simplicity of it. You just follow a straight line. Wondering if I'm going to be crossing the 303 shortly actually, because that does look a fairly substantial road, and I know I go alongside it for a short stretch actually. This is that stretch of the A303, which is still single carriageway for about a mile or so, so I've just emerged from there. Phew, luckily I'm not on there. I think I'm going straight on by the look of it. About a quarter of a mile on from crossing the A303. You can probably still hear it in the distance. Very muddy and narrow section where I had to get off and walk sections because it's quite rutted, and I just don't want to be falling off and breaking a leg or an ankle or something there. Nobody even know I was there for weeks. Just come through that gate. Look at these lovely views. That is looking down towards the Wiley Valley. And it looks like, well, you can see 4-wheel drive tracks, and my Garmin's suggesting I go round to the right, and there's a fence along there. I think I'm heading for those woods, but it's definitely getting much slower going now on this section. Just come along here, that's an electrified fence. I tried scrambling underneath it with a bike, got a couple of nasty bites of electricity. As you can see, I've stripped the bike down, lifted the bike over carefully, bearing in mind it's metal, good conductor, and just put the bags underneath and crawled underneath very, very carefully. Carry on this way. I mean, I don't think I'm trespassing because there's no signs saying no entry, and it was marked back there as a byway, and my ride with GPS platform suggests it's a byway. I'm not deviating from the route, but I mean, that's one of the reasons I sort of think dressing as a Roman centurion, bit of a laugh and all that. It's great for conversation. Had so many chats this morning, but I mean, hopefully people can sort of see what I'm up to and maybe just hopefully give me a little bit of social lubrication rather than being shouted at if I am on land, which they would rather me not be on. Anyway, carry on this way towards those trees. There's the 2 GPS tracks working in unison, so you can see I'm going straight on. Then there's a very acute angled left-hand turn, which looks like it might be up here. Be good to get out of here, this field. As I say, I honestly don't believe I'm trespassing. I certainly would have no intention to, but yeah, be glad to get out of what is obviously a field which they protect and value. Quarter of a mile further on from that very acute turn, come to this 3-way choice. That's a crop field. You could either go along that way or round that way. My Garmin's sort of trying to put me through there, but it clearly says private, no public right away. And up on there, on that post, I've just spotted a bridleway sign, so hopefully it's going to avoid the house and start bearing off to the right. This is just literally following my nose and see if I get a Garmin alarm here. Well, my Garmin's got me drifting off to the left a little bit. That's quite reassuring there because it's starting to look quite overgrown, and my Garmin's trying to send me round that way, but over that way more. As I said, that look clearly signs no trespassing, private. I don't want to upset people, and also it could just be a sat-nav thing. I could just be in such a remote place. I mean, I'm surrounded by trees and lots of hills in the vicinity. It could just be a slight false reading. You may get the idea there. Look, I've got the circle to indicate I'm off, and the track's just down there in the bottom right hand corner. So yeah, byway round to the right, heading in the right direction at least. I just emerged through those woods on a footpath. I walked most of that because it's quite bumpy, overgrown. I nearly tripped over a few times. Branches sort of like stabbed me a few times. If I'd fallen off the bike there and broken something, it didn't bear thinking about. I've come across this much more open 4-wheel drive tracks through the woods here, but my Garmin is actually sending me down there, so you may hear in the distance the A303. I do remember there was a section when I rode alongside it, and I think that's what I've done. I crossed it back there about a mile or so. I probably could have saved myself a lot of grief by just riding on it, but 2 reasons I'm not. First of all, I want to stay as authentic to the Roman road as possible, and secondly, the A303 is pretty nasty to ride on a bicycle. Anyway, make me way down there. I'm just approaching at 90 degrees the A303. You may have seen cars go by there. I rode down there and my track appears to be turning right, but not on the road. But I've looked and I can't see anything, so all I can do is just put all my lights on, ride along the road, start picking up some bearings and just looking for where the course could be going and where I'll join it next. This shows you the junction then. I've just emerged down that bridleway. My track is trying to send me just down the other side of those trees, but there's no footpath there. The good thing is, this is the end of the single carriageway part of the A303, so where that white van is now, it's becoming a dual carriageway, so it should be much safer for me as a cyclist, and I believe there's also a hard shoulder on that as well. So along there and see if I can pick up the track again. A few hundred yards from coming along from that direction, I was on the left-hand carriageway. There's a big barrier, central barrier, and my route started drifting off to the right, and I thought, oh rats, that's going to be dangerous or impossible. Then suddenly there's a gap in the barrier, and there's this road up here. Hopefully I'm going to join the route coming in from the right, and then I'll be hitting it at 90 degrees of going left. After a quarter of a mile, I've joined the route again on this, what was the Garmin saying is an S-bend, so I should have come across here. I missed this completely, and the puzzling thing is the Garmin didn't give me an off-course alarm until I was a few hundred yards onto the A303. Anyway, this looked quite defined here, but the other end I just couldn't see it at all. Anyway, that's reassuring. Back on route. I'm starting to get a bit peckish actually. I'm starting to think about lunch soon. This is the S-bend I was just talking about, so I should have come in that bridleway along there beyond the trees. I was about half a mile further over on the A303, and I joined this track, and now this looks fairly straight, and I'm pretty sure this is the old Roman road. It's called the Great Ridge. Here's an overview of where we are. So we're here. Looks like it's going to be straight along, and then that way. I've no idea what my route's doing. I haven't memorised it too much. I can go into the OS maps, or I can go on to the Ride with GPS route, but to be honest I just like following my nose and trying to work it out as I go along. Oh yeah, look, Roman road's there. Oh, Roman road there, look, yes. After what seems like quite a slow stretch and a hard stretch, to be honest, a bit stressful at times, I'm now making really good progress on this gravelly track, and I've just come past that shelter now. I thought that looks like possibly someone's garage, or maybe even a picnic shelter, and it's a poor weather shelter, I think. It's called Station Number 4. It's got the grid reference there in case of emergency. Hello from Margary's 45B, otherwise known as the Roman Lead Road, which ran from Old Sarum near Salisbury to Charterhouse in the Mendips, where there were silver and lead mines. And it is also suggested that that road continued to a possible Roman port where the River Axe flows into the Bristol Channe there, uphill. That's my destination on this trip. It's about 1 PM now, and it's been an amazing adventure so far. To be honest with you, the bit I thought was going to be quite easy to get to, the tricky bit, was actually hard. And what I thought was going to be the tricky bit was really easy. I've just had about an hour of quite difficult navigation, involved a lot of walking, getting stung and scratched, getting my Roman skirt snagged. But now I'm on a really fast stretch of what looks like a forestry track, and I'm starting to make good progress again. The plan tonight is I'm hoping to bivvy at Beacon Hill Woods. That's where the Fossway crosses this road, Margary's 45B, at a right angle of course, because the Romans built everything in straight lines. And about a mile before that there's a pub I can maybe get a meal, and I've also got my billy can and some MREs, and there's a shop down at Stoke St Michael I can deviate just about a mile or so, just go down and stock up on supplies for an overnight bivvy. There's rain forecast tonight, so I'd quite like to be at my bivvy site, having eaten, ready to dive inside by no later than 9 PM really. Anyway, ciao, soon be lunchtime. I very quickly arrived at the other side of Great Ridge. It's great because it tells you here the arrows where I am, so I spoke to you from back there. Just about to turn down there, but I just saw this shrine, so I came over to have a look. So I'll take a photograph and put it up on the screen now, but I'm just going to take my hat off and bow for a few minutes to sort of pay respect, and then get my breath back and ride along there. Still very high up on the chalk downs. Just again taking a look at this view. It's not too difficult to imagine that this view probably hasn't changed much in a couple of thousand years. Where Romans roamed. Just emerged from that short stretch of bridleway there onto much more open, what looks like farmland, crops either side. Then there's a track taking me that way. I just wanted to share this spot. 21 miles. That's quite a milestone, excuse the pun, Roman milestone. You may say, why is that 20 odd miles? Because I put some distance markers on the complete route, and I sort of wanted an idea where my preferred bivvy spot for tonight would be Beacon Hill, which is 42 and a bit miles, so you can see I'm over halfway. And also there's quite a long stretch of tarmac later this afternoon, early evening, but before that we got to drop down off this high ground and do some quite complex navigation. I think I'll do that after lunch actually. I just need to sort of recharge my batteries, to be honest, and my Garmin batteries. Anyway, onwards. Wow, look at this for a view. So isolated. Barn down there, some farm buildings up there with like lots of orange, it's like crane arms actually, I'm not sure what that's all about. There's a network of tracks and all crisscrossing. I think what we're going to do is drop over this hill and then start heading down towards the outskirts of Warminster without going through Warminster. Wow, just loving this. In fact, I'm loving this so much I'm going to stop and have my lunch. This is just, I love this view. I knew this stretch was going to be isolated and I just had no idea how long it's going to take me, and so I've stocked up really well. I've got 2 sandwiches from Greggs earlier on, lots of chocolate, the can of juice, water, still got 2 water bottles, one of squash, one of water, so I'm fine for supplies. Chicken and bacon sandwich on brown bread from Greggs, and what's this, one of those energy drinks, orange and mango. That's really hit the spot. Looking at this amazing view. One of the tips I was given years ago, oh gosh, it's such wise advice when you're on long roads, especially when it's quite hot or challenging, just take your shoes off at every possible stop. It's a bit like, the closest I'd say is, it's a bit like when you compress a sleeping bag and then you take it out of its compression sack when you get to your campsite and it lofts out. That's exactly what my feet feel like. It feels like they're lofting out, almost tingly, expanding almost. It feels almost like I'm having a foot massage. Almost straight after lunch you come to this T-junction. Going to cross that main road by the look of it. Don't ask me which one it is, I don't know. And there's a track across the hills there, and there's a sign there saying the police. This land forms part of the public highway and any persons found camping may be removed by the police or the highway authority. I wonder if that means campers like me or like new age travellers, I just don't know, but anyway there's certainly plenty of warning there. Oh, I'm still in lunch mode actually, so I'm just guessing we're going to go straight across. Anyway, onwards. Hey, you know that old chestnut? What did the Romans ever do first? This is what they did first. They put a road which went straight down, straight up the other side. This side of it is up to almost my knees in grass. I've sort of caught my shins a few times. And it looks like it's pretty precipitous down in that valley there where the farm is. That was incredibly steep down there. I had to walk down, and it's really overgrown. and apparently I've got to go off to the right and snake round this house. I was beginning to think I had a fence here, but I've gone through and done a recce on foot. There is actually stile just the other side of that, what looks like a paddock. There's a gate taking me onto a metalled road. There's an old signpost there, just had to pick up from the other side. It was already on the ground, just to beat a pass through. My legs are absolutely stinging through nettle scratches. You may tell by my breath, I'm part way up the other side. So as I can best guess it, I came down that line of trees there through the woods. Yeah, that's it, down to that house there. I hit a main road, then came along and actually cut through someone's drive. He was mowing his lawn, and he was very pleasant. Saw the funny side of the outfit, and I sort of said, sorry, I didn't mean to trespass. He said, no, the footpath weaves round, but you know, that's fine, you know. You can tell I'm pretty out of breath. I've just seen a walker cut across actually, so once I get over the top of here, I'm guessing I'll pass them soon. Wonder what they'll have to say. You can definitely tell the weather's starting to change. It definitely feels like there's a front coming in. It's a lot more cloudy, there's breezes picking up, etc. Just past the walker coming that way. That's one heck of a slog up there. Hold it, looks like a trig point over there. But I think this must be the summit, the old beacon. There's a very familiar landmark there as well. I can see Alfred's Tower from here. I'll tell you where I think I am. I think I'm coming off the OS sheet for Salisbury and going on to the one with Yeovil and Froome on, which I'm much more familiar with, and that just makes sense down there. I've still got Gary Hill to get over on the Longleat estate later on, then it should be a bit easier when we're at tea time. Another challenging down and then up by the look of it. I don't think that's as steep down as the last one. It looks pretty defined track as well. Oh, it's starting to really feel the effort at the moment. I'm on 25.5 miles. Just had a bit of a stressful time going through those woods. Don't know what happened. I was trying to follow the track and I weaved underneath a bit of a fence to get in there, and I got hopelessly lost, and as I approached the intended course it was just behind barbed wire, so then I had to find my way back out, and somehow almost by accident I'm back on course. I just let's hope we're going to drop down in the valley actually and have a bit of a catch up on some progress actually, because that was quite time consuming and stressful to be honest. So about 10 minutes ago I was in the middle of that woods sort of knowing I'd gone wrong, and you go from quite a low to quite a high, because I've just emerged from this field down a chalky track through here. I'm crossing these gallops here, and I very much remember this from when I street viewed it, and I can almost place where it is. I'm not far from the outskirts of Froome. I just know I'm making progress. I'm sort of heading towards Truddock's Hill, Nunney, Gare Hill. It just feels like I'm making progress. Once I get past the next section, there's some more off-road, then I eventually get on that road which runs along to my proposed campsite tonight. So it's amazing. You go from the lows to the highs quite quickly, and sometimes conversely you just got to keep plugging away and think, yeah, I mean, part of me is sort of thinking, you're crazy man, you're trying to replicate something which is 2,000 years old. Of course it's not going to be easy, of course it's going to have disappeared in places. And then the other part of me sort of says, look, you like challenges, you wanted to do this, you know, you are enjoying it, you just got to overcome the bad bits. Actually, yeah, I just seen a car go along there. Be quite glad to get back on some tarmac. It's coming up to 8 PM and I'm at my destination. It's been a very hard afternoon. This is Beacon Hill Woods. It's where the Fossway crosses, highest point of the Fossway. I'm pretty wet, getting a bit shivery cold. I need to go and get my bivvy up.